From Game of Thrones to The House of the Dragon, George R.R. Martin's book adaptations have given us the thrill of a lifetime. And guess what? The books are even better. And if the fans want an authentic experience, the books are a must-read. But there's one problem. The man takes years to get done with just one book of his. Literally. The season Game of Thrones was based on the book series, A Song for Ice and Fire. And while the seasons have wrapped up now, the ending received a lot of criticism from the fans. And rightly so. I mean, it wasn't the ending anyone could have imagined. And the fault mostly lies with The Winds of Winter, the 6th book, not being released on time. Because of this, the show's writers had to come up with the ending all on their own. You see, the 5th book, A Dance with Dragons, came out in 2011. Around this time, the world was blessed with the first season of GOT. And now, it's been almost 11 to 12 years, but the fans are still waiting for The Winds of Winter. Martin has been dragged through the dirt by the fans, with memes and constant comments on when the book will be released. And obviously, the fans are out for blood. But no matter how much they push, the author is taking his sweet time. While talking to Vanity Fair for an interview, he said that he was very offended by the fact that some fans were worried about what would happen to the unwritten book if he dies. I mean, he's 74, and that's pretty close to the average life expectancy, isn't it?
It is. It is supposed to be. A lot of the kings cut themselves on it, and then sometimes it gets infected. So it's probably good you don't have an iron seat there.
Yes.
So I guess he should probably pick his pace up a bit. Now, the second book in the series, A Clash of Kings, is something all fans gotta read. One thing's for sure, no matter how fantastic the adaptation is, it can never come close to the details and emotions in the books. If you guys are book lovers, I'm sure you'd agree. The first and second seasons perfectly match the storyline of the first 2 books, Game of Thrones and A Clash of Kings. Due to this, the book fans were also excited to finally see their fantasy come to life in the shows. But as always, getting the exact thing we want gets tricky. Do you know that the characters get POV chapters in the books? And it makes reading all the more worthwhile. Wouldn't you want to know what Cersei or Tyrion or Sansa were thinking about their actions? I'd pick up the book just to read these if nothing else, because it seems the author really has a way of making you love and even make sense of the cruelest of actions. Like I said, guys, pick them books up. Arya's story also gets a lot more focus. At times in the season, we were just left guessing about her whereabouts. Even the wolves are shown through the characters. In the books, Bran isn't the only one that can morph himself into the mind of his dire wolf. All of the Stark siblings can, and that's what makes them so special. Then there's the journey of Tyrion's character building, and man, it's just so perfect. The fans even admitted that the character scared them at one point with the thoughts he had. And not to forget, the Blackwater battle was even more thrilling in the book than it was in the show. Book fans say that it was a weak portrayal of an otherwise epic war.
Commandant, you will bear the king's banner. Men, form up!
But there were things about the show that stood out too, particularly Cersei's character and the depths it shows. The scenes with her and Tyrion drinking and her admitting to the thought that Joffrey might be evil, being a product of incest and all, really blew away the book fans.
And then there's a birthday party. And I'm saying, where are the giant snakes? Where are the scantily clad women? There's no sword fights.
In the book, her character's devoid of any emotional side of leanings. And then there's a storm of swords. The 3rd book was so full of complexity that it had to be covered in 2 seasons, the 3rd and 4th. It gave us the gruesome Red Wedding, Joffrey's death, Tyrion's betrayal, and much more. Gosh, it was all so horrific, and yet it had the fandom captivated. But like always, there are some amazing details that the season left out. And if nothing else, this should make you run to the books.
King Robert's body.
He wouldn't do that. He knows how much I love.
Catelyn Stark was resurrected. Though it might seem like one of those unbelievable dramas, the magic concept in the books is far greater than what was shown in the show. She becomes known as Lady Stoneheart and lives to seek revenge on those who caused harm to her family. Can you guys even imagine Catelyn in this role? It's no wonder this book is the favorite in the entire series. It gives you a window into Jaime Lannister's thoughts.
Have you swung it yet?
Of course I have.
At someone, I mean.
And also some integral information about his relationship with Tyrion, which revolves around his first wife, Tysha. And it's entirely different from what's been shown in the show. Turns out that she wasn't an escort like his father had claimed, but a regular girl who loved Tyrion. Not gonna lie, this one had me sobbing, and if this doesn't make you want to run to the book, I don't know what will. From the bookworm's point of view, it's all acceptable until the 4th season. That brings us to the 4th and 5th installments, A Feast of Crows and A Dance with Dragons. These books are a must-read because even though there were some details that were taken from them for the series, it didn't do it justice. Because according to the author's representative, the show's directors had completely taken their own journey. Probably because no one was going to wait until Martin got over his writer's block.
I was actually writing another novel. I was writing a science fiction novel that I'd been intending to write for some time. And just one day, the first chapter of Game of Thrones came to me. The scene where they find the direwolf pups in
So we shouldn't even be complaining at all. But the fans did, and they'd every right. The story of Sansa takes a very different turn in the books. She's not the weak character shown in the show. In fact, did you know that she doesn't even end up marrying Ramsay? Pretty sure that's enough to be curious about what happens to her in the books. And nope, I won't be giving any spoilers. Plus, it seems Dany's trip from Westeros was cut short considering the book includes many more details. Even Samwell Tarly has his own POV in the books. Becoming Grand Maester isn't as easy as it's shown in the seasons. Even small characters like Varys and Littlefinger have major roles to play. The book focuses on them, and the reason why they're so interesting is that they don't have POV chapters. The reader's left in the dark, guessing about what they're plotting. In fact, the roles are so important that they're seen as the ones controlling key people. The story of the Faceless Men doesn't even scratch at the surface of the details given in the books.
career began with turtles. I lived in Bayonne, New Jersey, in a federal housing project.
Sure, right across the river here.
We were not allowed to have dogs.
It seems they hold the power to impact political scenarios. The show's eliminated much of the sideline stories to only focus on a few main characters. And with the limited time, it makes sense. The books, though, dwell on the most minor details of how everyone involved has a say in the Game of Thrones. Because it wasn't named randomly. And you guys gotta read the books because it's a whole different world. Also, do you know that seasons 7 and 8 were the only ones solely based on the director's understanding?
Answer a few fan questions that have been sent in here. Which of your characters would you most like to have dinner with?
So for those of you who didn't like the ending, and that's 90% of the fans, it's the best time to catch up before the next book comes out.
I've had a really good 6 months. I've written 3 chapters, and you've finished 3 books in that time.
Here's the thing, okay?
You might as well get the ending you desire, or at least prefer over the show. Martin's also hinted that whatever he's writing is further and further away from the television series.
Names are hard. There's no easy answer to that. I have a library and have for...
So I really can't wait for it now. With that, that's it for now on why fans need to read other R.R. Martin novels.